So hello and welcome to how Xandr prevents revenue loss with autonomous business monitoring. So my name is Remy Olson. I'm an AI ML specialist, partner solutions architect at AWS. I will be your host and a moderator today. So with that, I would like to hand it over to Anodot's Chief Executive Officer and co-founder, David Dre.
It's a great honor to be here. I want to thank especially AWS for hosting us in this session, and thank you very much to Ben John of giving us his insight around big data and business insight. So before starting the session about Anodot, I would like to give a bit back on who we are. Anodot is a 6 years company, 6 years old. We started with a clear vision to better understand what is happening in your business data. We are working today with hundreds of companies in telcos, financial, edtech, gaming, and so on. And as I said, with that vision that today visualization, today's dashboard just doesn't scale. So I would like to start with a little story of why Anodot, why we started that company at all. So before Anodot, I was CTO, as mentioned, of few companies, and in one of them, the latest one before Anodot, I was the CTO of a company that is parallel to Uber and Lyft in Europe. And like every company, we were collecting a lot of data to understand what's happening there in our business. If we are talking about the number of rides, the number of orders that people are getting into taxis and payment transaction and so on. And in one of the day, one of our BI team member came to me and tell me, we saw that there is a huge drop in number of new user in a specific region. And we started to analyze it. And what we found out is that for 2 weeks, we had a drop in new users in a specific region because one of the telco blocked or tagged our text messages. So the code to register to the application didn't arrive to the users. Now, we had all the dashboard, all the visualization that you can imagine, but still we missed that incident. It took us 2 weeks to find that incident. 2 weeks in business means a lot of money. And this was the aha moment that I say to myself, things need and can be different. We can do something that is beyond visualization to understanding what is happening there in your business. And this is the moment where we understood that, or I understood that we need something smarter. So I met at that time Dr. Ira Cohen, who was the chief data scientist at HP. And this was the moment that we found and understood that doing it, we need a machine learning to do it for us and not necessarily with dashboards. So if you would look in the BI space of today, you will see that we can actually differentiate the data in general in businesses into 3 layers. The IT data. The IT data is monitored today, and I will say for years, tens of years, with monitoring tools. So you see companies like Splunk, Sumo Logic. Splunk actually came in around 2008 with the new approach of more visualization on your machine data. But when we're talking about Splunk and monitoring, we need also to understand how monitoring is related to BI. And then in the evolution of the monitoring, you will see how Anodot took this approach and move it into the BI space. And then with the IT monitoring, after a few years, you saw an evolution into the application space, application data. And the application data is not only about your machine data, your CPU, your memory, but more about the behavior of the application itself, the number of errors, the latency, and so on. And there you will see companies like New Relic, Dynatrace that are today did a fantastic job in application monitoring. But when you think about it, monitoring is mainly about to understand the health of your business. I wrote an article about why you need to monitor. And monitoring, when you ask yourself the question, you understand that all this effort is in order to understand what is happening in your business and to keep your business healthy. And the question that natively is raised is, why don't we monitor our business? It's so native to monitor our business. The clear answer that I understood with the time, that it's very difficult. It's very difficult to take an approach of monitoring with static threshold, with a traditional monitoring, and to move it into the business part. And why it required a machine learning? Because in the business data, unlike CPUs, unlike memory, the data is very dynamic. It's very difficult to track the normal behavior of your data. Data is very seasonal. Data has trends. You can have different behavior in every countries, and this is why it's so hard. And we took the challenge. And after 6 years, I'm very happy to say and proud that we opened that new category of business monitoring. So, in order to monitor the business, there are few basic in a business monitoring platform that you need to meet in order to understand and to make it working. So first of all is the collection. Data can come from different sources, either from AWS, S3, Redshift, Kinesis, streaming, real time or not real time. It can come from traditional database, data lakes, and so on. There are so many places, logs, there are so many places that you can collect data. The data can come structure and non-structure. This is why we took the approach that we need to normalize everything. And we need to normalize everything over time. This is why we selected time series data as the standard for our platform to learn what is happening in the business. So what we have done, we have developed dozens of collector that are able to fetch data from any data source in a very easy way, in a plug and play way. But to collect data is not enough. You need also to think about the historical data. In order to learn data that has, for example, a weekly season, it can take around 3 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks at a minimum. And you don't want to wait this amount of time. So we developed the capabilities to fetch historical data. It can be from your Google Analytics, your Google AdWords, Salesforce, and so on. We are learning the data. And when I say learning, it means that we are taking all the data, translating, streaming it into time series. And during the streaming itself, we learn what is the normal behavior of each individual time series. So what we took an approach that is an unsupervised approach that says we first need to learn every time series differently with a different models or several models. And then once we are learning what is the norm, we will be able to accurately let you know what are the abnormal situation in the business, because this is what is matter and what you want to know about. So after learning the norm, we will do correlation in order to provide you a full visibility of an incident that might happen in your system. And then when we correlate, the last action is to send you an alert that tell you what is happening in your business. So if you think about it, we move from pull approach of you looking into dozens of dashboards, endless dashboards and visualization, into push of telling you what is happening in your business. And of course, with that comes some challenges of how to handle false positive, how to be accurate, and so on. So let's see one example. So this is an example where a customer is spending in AdWords a lot of money into in order to get traction from the internet. And what you can see that in one of the cases, and it happened a lot in the market, in one of the cases, one of the AdWords become very, very popular. And when it became very popular, there was a spike in the in the cost of this specific campaign, but then we correlated to the fact that there was a drop in demand because there was high demand in other areas that caused a drop in the specific company demand. Now, what you see here is the way that we are learning data. The blue shaded area is actually the normal behavior around the data itself. So what you see here a daily seasonal data. We are able to identify that seasonality autonomously. And then whenever something happens, this is the orange part, this is the drop, we will let you know about it. And we will let you know that there is a drop in the demand and correlate it to that spike in cost. And for that, the end user didn't need to do anything around a calibration or configuration. We have developed for that 15 different models that with a meta model that select the right algorithm for each individual time series. So the algorithm for the spike in cost and the algorithm for drop in demand can be totally different. And with the time, we also correlate the behavior to understand that there is strong correlation between them. So if I am back to my story, because I want to double check that when I create Anodot, I sold my pen in my previous company. So when I was there, if I had Anodot, actually I could get immediately in real time an alert that says you have a drop in your registered user. And it could have been correlated to the number of people that put their code into the application. And then I could add a correlated area. If I will put also the dimension of which telco among dozens of telcos that we send the code, I could also identify the specific telco that caused that issue. As simple as it is. Now, when we are analyzing and identifying with the machine learning in that way everything that happens in your business, we are actually accelerating by 80% the time to detection for those incidents. And 80% is a lot of money. If you are aggregating and collecting all those incidents for all over the year, we are talking about millions of dollars that are there in the big data, but no one see them. Now, let's talk about several use cases because our platform is agnostic, meaning that we don't know what is revenues, we don't know what is temperature or any other time series. And this is why it's so important to assign it to use cases. When we're talking about business, we are mainly splitting business into three areas. One is the revenue and the cost of your business. Is my cost healthy? Am I spending too much money on AWS cost? Am I spending too much money on AdWords? Are my revenues healthy? Do I have a drop in revenues? If I'm selling in a B2C environment, do I have a drop in my revenues from a specific mobile device because I deploy now a new version and there was a drop in revenues because someone forgot the button of the purchase or didn't convert well the funnel? Do I have a drop in the funnel itself? All those questions can be put into the Anodot platform. The same with partner monitoring. Think about B2B companies. Do I have a spike in usage? Can I do an upsell? Do I have a drop in usage? Am I risking one of our customers that potentially can be a churn? Again, a lot of questions that today are very difficult to answer and require a lot of investigation, manual work, and late detection without a business monitoring platform. And the last part is about user experience. Think about gaming companies or mobile application. You want to track your daily active users. You want to track them in several regions, countries, operating system. You have iOS, you have Android. Do I deploy now a new version that has a drop in the daily active users? How do I monitor all of that? The typical way to do that today is to collect all that data, as I say, into a data lake, and then to try and analyze it. But to analyze it manually, again, doesn't scale. Another example of a gaming company that actually had a spike in the number of crashes in a specific game. And when the developer team detected that, they immediately understood, fixed the issue, and did a rollback. And this speed of action is so critical for companies that are moving to digitalization. And as you probably know, the industry is moving to digitalization. Now, when I say push and I say alerts, every alert can be seen in a different way. So we as a company invested on the look and feel of the insight instead of the look and feel of the data. The look and feel of how you understand what is happening instead of the look and feel of putting more dashboards and selectors and so on. And this is how an example of an insight looks like, where you can see a drop. You can see actually that the purchase or conversion has been dropped. This is the orange part. And what we show you is that the dimension, the specific dimension where actually that drop happened. Together with that, we will show a few more parameters that I will not dig into them now. I will be more than happy to elaborate more on a demo with our team. But the idea is that we will show you the abnormal situation, either in that way through emails, Slack, PagerDuty, or in other ways like topology map that will show you the anomalies in a region or in a network and so on. After you are getting these alerts, now the question is how to be accurate, because since we move from pull to push mode, the new challenge for us is how to mitigate false positive. And for that, you have a feedback mechanism that you can tell us good or bad catch. And in that way, we can calibrate, we can be more accurate with our customers. Thank you very much.
All right. Thank you, David. Great learning. I also learned a few things through your session and how the platform works and other use
we can
cases.
follow up in another meeting to explore more use cases.
Absolutely. I think that's the right thing to do. All right. So here's my part about how Xandr is benefiting with the platform that David walked you through all. I'm glad that I'm here spending time giving you more technical details about what Xandr accomplished leveraging this platform. So before I get to my topic, I hope you are all doing well wherever you are dealing with the pandemic, as well as a lot of things happening around the world. Thanks for joining here as a learning opportunity from wherever you are. And during this part, I would like to walk through what Xandr has accomplished leveraging Anodot. And you can guess that the reason I'm here and agreed to do this is because Anodot is working well for us. And, so we've been leveraging the value out of this for quite a few years now. And I'll explain why and how we are doing that. And before I get into the talk, I just wanted to set up expectations on what I'm going to cover. So think of like I'm going to cover 4 areas. Number one, I want to give you an understanding about our business and our platform so that you can relate to the use cases and the technical details that I'm going to walk through. So I'll give you a little bit high level understanding about our business and our platform. Number two, then I'll talk about what problem we are looking to solve, because as engineers, we always want to start with what problem we are looking to solve. And number three, I'll talk about how did we solve it. And then I'll close with the results and the lessons learned, right? This journey is never done, and we are always continuously learning and improving this ecosystem. So I want to be transparent with you about what are the things that we are learning and what are the things we are looking to accomplish more. Going to my next slide. So this is the ecosystem that I want you to understand what Xandr is dealing with. So Xandr is a marketplace. Think of like Uber for taxis. Xandr is Uber for advertising. So it's a marketplace that we connect the demand side and supply side and build an exchange to monetize the content and leverage our platform for the marketers to reach the right audience. I know that's too much buzzwords. Let me break this for you. So if you look at the demand side at the rightmost side, people who are looking to reach the audience to provide the service, whether it's airlines or banks or travel agencies, they have a business, they have a product, they need to reach to the consumers looking to leverage the service or buy the product. And if you look at the leftmost, the suppliers, those who are producing content or providing the service, they need to make sure these consumers can leverage them. So what we have in the middle is the marketplace that's looking to connect the supply and demand side so that the supply side folks can monetize their content and service, and the demand side can reach the right audience. So that is how I want you to understand the ecosystem. And the reason I'm explaining this at the first slide is so you can understand the complexity and dynamics of this overall platform. If one side goes too much, the other side is falling apart. You really are not going to match the right content, the right audience, and you want to make sure the entire platform works without any flaw, and anything that we find issues, we should be able to fix it immediately. That's why the topic is anomalies. And as you know what anomaly means, it is any deviation from the standard operating model or from the standard business processes. Anything deviation, we need to find quickly and automatically and fix it as soon as possible. So going into the next slide, you will see the inflection point. As I mentioned about the consumers are looking to consume a lot of content, and marketers are looking to reach the right audience, and publishers have more and more competition. They need to create and monetize their content. And here, the scale and whoever reaching the right audience is going to make them win. And our platform as Xandr has the largest footprint, and we have a unique advantage in this space. If you look at our distribution, as some of you probably know, Xandr is part of AT&T, and we own all the mobile services and the direct TV, all the TV viewership, and we also part of Warner Media. We have the direct to consumer relationships, all the brands and content. So we have a unique advantage of distribution and data and content, that we have a direct access to consumers, as well as part of Xandr, we have the marketplace that we have the largest marketers as well as largest publishers connect through our platform. And when you think about this platform, a lot of things can go wrong when it comes to technology and engineering. And we want to make sure we provide the best business value for our customers and making sure our consumers are leveraging those services. So if you can just think about from the scale perspective, from the complexity perspective, this is not just we can just put few monitors here and just have few people watch on a big television as a knock. That's not going to work for us, because the scale, we handle multi-billion transactions and multi-billion ads we serve every single day. For a Just for you to understand the scale, we handle like 45 million transactions per second. Our systems process the volume, right? 175 plus terabytes of data that we process, and these platforms make a lot of complex business decisions to reach the right consumers for the marketers. So it is very complex, it is very large scale. So we were looking for a machine learning based autonomous monitor that helps to run our platform, and most importantly to identify and detect and resolve anomalies. So as you heard from David, there are so many monitoring solutions are out there. I'm sure you probably are leveraging quite a few, and I was like that too. So if you look at the problems that we are looking to solve, is the fragmented tool set created more complexity and confusion. So you had to install these agents, and we run like hundreds if not thousands of servers and applications across our global data centers. It is very hard to sniff and drive an agent based system, but we were doing a lot of that before we find Anodot. For us, the way you could imagine, like when there is a business critical incident happen, people look at the logs, people look at some of the monitors, and people look at the alerts, and you try to correlate that to make sure what is the business incident or business impact is really, really hard. And every minute we will be losing revenue, and also our customers will be losing the revenue. So time is of the essence. So there are a ton of tools, but you got to understand the way David explained how your monitors for the core infrastructure and the next level of monitors to can manage the application uptime. Those are all good, but what's not out there is how do you connect these application endpoints and those services to the business outcome. That was the problem we're looking to solve. And I just put it out there, all the tools that we have and the purpose of those tools. And there are a lot of open source tools that we were using, and a lot of license based commercial tools we were using. But the biggest gap was too much fragmentation, and I was very particular and adamant I would not deploy a manual knock. That is not the way I want to run platform, and that is not the way you can scale. Those days are over. We want machines to detect systemic issues and resolve them. That's the number one. The second one is ability to detect client specific incidents. I mean, you can run a large platform. Your platform can show 4 nines of uptime, but a single customer somewhere in Europe and a specific region may be impacted. So think of like, your real time or your familiar example I can give, like Uber or Lyft. Somewhere in Arizona, a specific county, the app is not working. It's probably not caught by a large monitors. And you cannot have specific monitors by region. That's very hard. So we wanted to make sure we identify client specific, region specific incidents that we should be able to prevent and resolve. That's the second problem we're looking to solve. The third one is reduce the noise, because as I said, the correlations are very important for us, but given the demand and supply, we need to reduce the noise. And there's a lot of noise. So we need to reduce the noise and get to the reality of it. Think of like if an engineer get an alert every 30 seconds or every 2 minutes, they're going to just put snooze on it and just ignore, oh, this is another noise. I mean, that's reality, because if you run like global data centers, like thousands of servers and hundreds of applications, I'm sure something is not right. And certain alerts you may not need to solve right away. If a disk is filling up on a couple of nodes midnight, you may not need to solve that, given the redundancy and scalability of the platform. That's probably not impacting the business. So it's good for engineers to ignore some of those noise and just focus on the business outcome. So this is a few I just wanted to connect. There are several I can go on and on, but I just want you to think about why Xandr considered Anodot fragmented tool set to make sure we were able to focus and identify client specific incident that's losing revenue for both Xandr as well as the customers. And the third one is reduce the noise and just direct to the anomalies so we can get to the chase of it. And obviously, the platform performs more and more. It's more revenue for us and more revenue for customers. Everybody's happy. So now, how did we solve it? And as I said, this is not like you just install a bunch of agents and wait for the alerts, or you do a lot of work. So we have to identify the data point, and so if you look at what you see on the right side, those are the data points specific to our business, and we put together a team to identify those data and aggregated it and uploaded to the Anodot platform. As I said, I was also interested in like cloud-based solutions. So I don't need to manage this on-prem and manage the upgrades and licenses. So another requirement for me was like, I want this to be just working out of the box with the data integration. So we just aggregated what you see on the right most is like the architecture diagram that we connect all the data points and deployed through Kafka. So those agents collect the data and just push the metrics near real time to Anodot. And so the more metrics that we pushed, we were able to get better results. So as David explained, it's a machine learning based system that reads the data, collects the correlation, and generates the feedback. So we were able to identify, okay, what are the business metrics that we wanted to solve. So we were able to push that and we got better results. And learn and optimize. This is not going to work day one. I just want you to be out there. So the moment you collect the data and push it out there, you want Anodot to learn your business, learn your metrics, learn the behaviors. What day of the week is the traffic? What day of the month is peak? Or what hour of the day is different than the normal day? So things like that, the system will learn and optimize by itself. We didn't need to do much work there. And the specific business and customer use cases. You don't want to deploy this without knowing what specific use cases that you want to solve. I'll give you a specific example. Somewhere in Europe, some country, a specific region cannot serve blank ads. If you go to a website or a mobile application, if you see a blank spot, that is not good. Not good customer experience, not better monetization for our customers, as well as Xandr is losing revenue. So we should be able to identify, okay, if a campaign is serving ads and if there are blanks, we should be able to capture that. So you can go and set specific use cases like that. Or you can set up a campaign and the budget is exceeding for a certain threshold, we should be able to capture that. So things like that, we need to identify specific business and use cases. And streamline the process and continuously adopt it. Because the adoption is the key thing, which I will also talk about in my lessons learned. The more you have evangelists and people understand the systems and you adopt better, this will get better. So I've mentioned in the benefit side of things, we were able to identify incidents, we were able to identify specific customers, and we have done a much better job over the period. Now we integrated through Slack. Slack gets automatically notified of a specific use cases, and it's not only engineers looking at them, it also goes all the way to the business. Our solutions consultant or our account managers, the account managers look at them and see, oh, these are the alerts. Oh, let me call my customer. Hey, you configured a campaign incorrectly. So you missed something. So we are noticing this issue, and they were able to go at the specific use case level, specific customer level to manage that. So this definitely helped us to reduce the noise. Otherwise, think of it this way, like this, customers would call us, our account manager would tell us, you go check the logs and you go check the monitors, you try to correlate. By the time, too much time lost and too much revenue and too much customer experience is impacted. So that is what it really helped us. So the more better data you identify and integrate and push it through Anodot, have the system learn and optimize and get the better results, it's good for the business and good for the customers. So what are the lessons and we learned, and what are the ideas? One thing very specifically is clear ownership on both tech side as well as business side. Somebody on the technology side or engineering side should be able to say, sign up for this. Okay, let me do the integration job, work with the Anodot folks, and collect the data from our business and our internal data systems and push the team. That person should wake up and think about this on every single day. And you got to have a clear metrics of how you're going to measure the success of Anodot. I ask this question every time when my team comes to me for renewal of the license. Okay, how many incidents did we catch? How much revenue we were able to save? What percentage of customers are now happy? What if how business would function if we don't have Anodot? So things like that were an open conversation for me with my teams every time we talk about Anodot. And the use cases, you can continuously optimize and leverage those use cases. And measurement, I mentioned about KPIs and outcomes. And on this is critical. You got to make sure anything that the system learn and fix the root cause and the root product. Don't keep the patch and don't keep monitoring and just fixing it manually. Go and fix the product fundamentally so those issues don't show up, right? Because the less issues that we find, it's good for the customers and good for us. And change release management is something that we are thinking. So every time you do a bigger release or change, you can send a notification to Anodot. Anodot will start creating a different baseline based on the new learnings and based on the new data that collects. You can see the difference between the changes or the performance of your business and platform before the release and after the release. And another exciting idea that David and I talked before was integration with customers. I don't need to be in the middle. If customer configures something or use my platform something and they're expecting or seeing a different result, Anodot can send a notification directly to the customer with their data, then they can configure. So I get like multiple layers, save ton of money on my resources and timing. The customers can also do that by themselves. I'm thinking about implementing some of those Anodot alerts and graphs part of the platform. They can see when they manage their campaigns, when they manage their configuration. Oh, this is wrong. Oh, I'll go change it. So those are all some of the new ideas that we are thinking how we can leverage Anodot. What are some of the results? So reduce time to detection from up to a week to less than a day. I mean, I'm not joking here. Sometimes it takes to a week because you configure something, and remember our platform also integrated with so many other partners. So you make a phone call to the other partners and they detect them. So it's so many integration touch points. This data was helps us to find out so many incidents within few hours or within a day compared to multiple days and weeks. And several incidents, as I said before, every time I try to validate how this tool is working, we were able to get real use cases of some of the catches that our platform was able to benefit from Anodot. And these catches are ranging from thousands of dollars because you got to connect these savings to the larger platform value or dollars that goes through. Xandr platform operates many millions of billions of dollars go through the platform because each campaign configures like hundreds and thousands, if not millions. And if things go wrong, that is an impact of thousands of dollars. We were able to save for both Xandr as well as to our customers. So those are some of the results that we were able to save on additional licensing on the tools, resources that can be deployed, no need to run around looking at the logs and watching logs, and early detection and saving for customers. So the benefits are definitely worth the investment that we put in, and the continuous commitment that we have with Anodot is definitely a great product and platform that is definitely working for our scale and for our needs. So that's why I'm here to share with you our journey with Anodot, what problem we're looking to solve, the complexity of the platform, and the results that we are seeing. And we are not done yet. There are new ideas that just we are sharing. I got a few ideas when David shared today about what they are looking and looking to build in their roadmap as well. I think that's pretty much my slides. I will hand it over back to the team to facilitate the Q&A. Thank you.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, David. So we are now going to transition into our live Q&A. As a reminder, you will be able to submit any written questions through question panel. In the event that we are not able to answer your questions today, we will follow up with everyone individually via email. So the first question is for David. What is the future direction for Anodot? What is their vision? What is your vision?
Okay, so we started a new thing in the market, right? We started the ability to understand with machine learning what is happening in your business. So this was the first step of a global vision. The next step of our vision says, okay, once we understand what is happening, we need also to improve the correlation engine in order to understand better where it's happening and why. But then the question is, how do I close the loop? How do I make it happen fully autonomous, or let's say 70% autonomous? Not everything can be done with people. Not everything can be done automatically with machine learning. Sometimes you need to take a call to ask the customer, but the no-knock approach that Ben talked about, this is part of the vision. I also, as you know, as a CTO of many years, and I bought a lot of TVs at that time, I remember, in many rooms, and had always this vision around no knock. And the no knock, or people like to talk about AI ops approach that says you need to understand, identify the issue, and automatically fix the incident. And I believe that with that approach, we can improve by around 70% the effectiveness of the business operation. We don't hear you, Romy, but I will add another factor is also what will happen. We are talking about forecasting. We have deployed a new service recently called Forecast Service that is the first part is to say what is happening, where and why, and to close the loop, but also to better understand what will happen or what will happen if, okay, in order to be more optimized with your business. Because at the end of the day, you will see that most of the companies are now trying to be more effective from the data itself. Okay, to the difference between the companies will be how intelligent they will act based on the data that they have. And the more they will be intelligent, the more they will have better gross margin and effectiveness in their business. And this is where we want to be.
Great, thank you.
Sure.
So the next question is for Ben. So are you planning to close the loop with machine learning and to do more ops or automation?
Yeah, so what we have done is think of like 3 stages, right? Stage 1, we deployed this and manually managing those alerts. You get an alert, you identify the correlation. So now what we are in the process of doing is integrated with our tool sets like Slack and other things so that it gets automatically managed and debugged, and let's get tighter and tighter integration. I think the next stage that we are looking to do is, as I mentioned, things. One is how do I integrate that part of the platform? If certain things are detected automatically based on the past data and the current data, how do we tell the platform to solve it or inform the customers to go and solve it automatically? So I will cut like 3 or 4 layers in between that. So basically think of like Anodot as like a black box. What are the better the data you feed in, the better the results you get. So then when we get the results, we can feed back into our platform. So those are the things that definitely in the interest in the pipeline. That's something, you know, it's fun. It's an engineer to engineer conversation, right? So that's why our engineers love working with Anodot and share the ideas and share the ideas back. So yeah, so those are the ideas that we have in the pipeline that we wanted to get that implemented.
That's great. Okay, so we might have time for one more question. So this question is for Ben again. What are some of the creative ideas and parts that you are thinking working with Anodot?
Yeah, so I think the baselining is one thing I really like because what's changed every time you find an issue, the first question goes into our head is like what's changed. So detecting a change, whether it's a release tech change or a new campaign or new setup or configuration come in, that is something I'm really interested. The second thing is offering this as a feature directly to our customer is definitely interesting, right? So, and the third one is like forecasting and prediction. So based on the past data, we would know you will run into an issue, right? So that's several industries solve this problem. And as a technology platform, predicting and resolving an incident before it happens would be amazing. And whether it's based on the traffic, whether it's based on incorrect configuration, or whether it's based on the past system metrics, we would be able to predict, okay, this is going to hit a threshold. You have 15 minutes, 20 minutes, go act on it. Otherwise, it's going to problem. Prevention is better than cure. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. I think when David and I had our annual review, we talked about some of those ideas.
Absolutely. That sounds great. All right.
And the good news is because the data is in cloud, I'm not installing and optimizing any software. By the time it's out there, I can also test this with specific customers, specific data. I'm not boiling the ocean. So one or two use cases works, then I can roll out. And the good thing is, this is important, right? This is not a top-down mandate. I'm not telling my engineers and my teams to go solve this. They're the ones so eager about it because it helps them. They can get some sleep without getting alerts every time. So our business is happy, and our engineers are showing to the business and challenging them. We got to use more and more. So the adoption is critical. So it's happy as CTO. I'm not doing this as a top-down thing. It's more coming from bottom up, and that's why it is a good thing for me.
Yeah, I can relate to that, being an engineer in the past. So yeah, absolutely. All right.
I have to say something that I didn't know, but I'm very happy that we help you to sleep better for you.
That is true, David, because if we can ignore some alerts and just focus only on the anomalies, that's probably a good thing. The engineer wakes up next day morning, come fresh and build new products.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. So Anodot is the AWS Machine Learning Competency Launch Partner. The competency partners have demonstrated expertise delivering machine learning solutions on the AWS cloud. These partners offer a range of services and technologies to help customers create intelligent solutions for their businesses, from enabling data science workflows to enhancing applications with machine intelligence. AWS competencies are difficult to achieve. We intentionally set a very high bar. It will typically take a partner anywhere from 6 months to 2 years to achieve an AWS competency, depending on their initial depth of knowledge and experience. Partners must have 4 referenceable customers who AWS contacts and interviews to determine the level of trust that has been built and to discuss the technical success of the partner's solution. Anodot has achieved the AWS machine learning competency, and AWS requires a review of their capabilities each year to ensure that we continue to recommend great partners to our customers. The machine learning competency can be achieved by either consulting companies or technology companies. And we further refine the technology partners into 3 categories: data services, platform solutions, and SaaS and API solutions. Data services category includes data processing such as ingestion, consolidation, removal of duplicate records, scaling or normalizing values, feature engineering, and others. Platform solutions category includes no or low-code platform for machine learning, usually with a visual interface that enable end-to-end model development. SaaS and API solutions category includes high-level code solutions, RESTful API, GraphQL, and algorithms that provide access to trained models and components used to train models. Anodot is a SaaS and API solution provider. You are able to search the list of competency partners in our website. All right, so here are some links to get started. The first link is to learn more about AWS competency and to search current competency partners. And the second link is to learn more about Anodot. And the last link is for you to try AWS services for free.